the thing I think we should really talk about is the stress, the masterclass stress that we are looking to conduct this month end. So I think whole idea of this entire masterclass is to help people to understand stress from a different perspective, different angle. Because I realize like a lot of people talk about stress from the like how what not to drink, like stop taking coffee, tea, less nicotine and sort of stuff, or exercise to de-stress, that kind of thing. But I feel that a lot of people are not really helping others to understand what stress is. Because I think there's also another I will not use the word dilemma. Maybe there is a misunderstanding between pressure and stress.
Actually, I think there's a misunderstanding for a lot of things. We lump everything together in the word stress.
Yes.
So when somebody actually says, "Oh, I'm so stressed," I really wonder whether they really understand what do they actually mean by "I am so stressed."
Yes,
actually,
yes,
it may not even be stress at all.
Yeah.
It's something else, but people just throw it. And I'm sure if we ask 10 people, what is stress? Everybody will give a different answer. And if your answer doesn't hit the nail on the head,
yes,
you think it's stress, you call it stress, but it's not. And you try to do all the how to relieve stress exercises, you find it doesn't work. And you say, "Oh yeah, all these don't work." Actually, your problem was never stress in the first place. You misnamed it.
Well, a lot of cases as well, you think that it's stress, and the stress is just a result.
Yes.
Right? A lot of it comes from many different root causes.
Correct.
It could be money, it could be time, it could be work pressure, it could be some other things totally. And it all boils down to you think it's stressed.
Right.
And some people will think this, and when you analyze and you talk to people, they have multiple reasons that build up this stress.
Yes, exactly.
And I like the word you used. You said you think it's stress.
Yes.
Yeah. They think it's stress, but maybe through what we're going to do, we actually going to help people understand this is actually stress. And whatever else you thought was stress, I'm so sorry, you're wrong. You know?
Yes.
And the other reason is, I totally agree with Ruben, is stress is not the problem.
No.
Stress is a symptom.
Yep.
Stress is a sign.
Yes.
And if you try to deal with stress, but you don't deal with what is actually the root causes, you always have what you think and what you call stress.
Yeah, agree with that. I also come to the realization that a lot of people look at stress like, what you said, it's like they look at the results. They look at the end result as in, and they kind of like really define themselves, label themselves, I'm stressed.
Yes.
But they never really look into the root cause, as you said, the main thing, the actual thing that caused them to feel that they are stressed. Yeah. And I think what we're going to do this round is that we're going to really highlight and really bring everybody to see it from the different perspective, the actual root, the cause of why they are feeling so stressed. Or like you said, maybe it's not even stress at all.
Yeah.
But come to the actual thing about stress is that I think stress is something that is can be very deadly, fatal. I think where we are heading right now, as the world advances with technologies, innovation, and with the competition is also rising. People are more competitive than before. I think the stress level, so-called, is also on the rise.
It would also be interesting to actually see if there's a direct correlation from the typical modern stressed life to the increase or potential level of clinical depression cases. Right? If that is actually correlated. So,
but there is a general idea, a general acceptance that it is. The relationship between depression and stress is quite intimate. And the stress, actually the inability to respond to stress, or the wrong way in responding to stress, relates or contributes to the rise of depression, for sure.
From my perspective, there's four things, right? There's data, there's information, there's knowledge, and there's action.
Yep.
Okay. From a data analyst perspective, data doesn't change. I am 187 centimeters. Right? Over time, my My height can actually reduce due to my spine, but I cannot change that fact. It's fact.
Yeah.
The information, I could actually take the information away is that I could pose for a photo. I could squat down, I could sit up, I could do, and when the person takes a photo of me, that's information of me. It doesn't change the fact that I'm 187 centimeters,
Yeah.
Okay.
right? And then from there, the information comes into the person who gains the knowledge, right? What can he do with this photo? What, maybe put me in a casting of a role or whatever it is. And then finally, what I do with that offer, the action. So the way I see it is that data is immutable. The course of your life, there are certain things you cannot change, right? Should you be worried about them if you cannot change them?
Yes.
How can you frame it?
Yep.
That you actually take it away, frame it in a way that is productive for you. You may not be able to cast it in a positive light, but take it in a way that's productive.
I like your phrase. You said how you frame it. And what I find, many people who complain they are having stress have really lousy framing skills. They have something and then they frame it in such a way that the picture they create is so evil or so destructive or so difficult to solve, they actually put themselves in a corner and they come to the conclusion this stress is not only so bad, I can't do anything about it and it's going to kill me. But in reality that's not true.
Yeah.
But they have framed it in such a way.
Yep.
So one of our responses to stress is actually your whole way of thinking.
Yes.
You have to challenge how you have been thinking about what you call stress and reordering your thoughts.
Which is why I mentioned this in the website. I called it the language of the mind. So, because the way we actually talk to ourselves, the way we actually program ourselves, and which related to what we said earlier, is that we thought that we are stressful. We maybe actually think that we are stressful, but in actual fact, maybe we are not. But simply because I think the way we tell ourselves,
Yes.
there's a way we actually program ourselves. The language that
Correct.
is an unspoken language. It's not like we say in English and DM or whatever, but it's kind of another language.
The script that we use.
Yes, the belief system, so
Correct.
called. Is I call it the language of the mind. The way we program and make ourselves believe that we have stress. I think that is one of the most dangerous part as a human being, because the more we believe about something, even though those lies are actually not true, those lies eventually become our truth. So that is also one of the things that we'll be highlighting in this masterclass, because we want people to actually understand that there are ways that actually we can talk to our mind.
So I give you an example. In the early days when I used to drive down to Kuching, Samarahan is famous for its jams.
Yeah. Obviously.
And I would conclude that I'm so stressed. And the reason I finally realized is I was allowing myself to get angry. And get angry with the driver in front, find fault, scold, and so forth. Until one day I realized, now, which of these thoughts, like, the driver in front is so stupid, or come on now, don't do that, or which of these is actually making the jam less jam and helping me reach on time? And I realized, none of it.
It's ourselves, right?
So I decided, if it's not helping, why am I doing it? So I thought, okay, I will no longer do it. And suddenly, even though it's still a jam, I'm not stressed.
Yeah, everyone else is in the jam with you,
Yes,
right?
I'm not stressed.
Everyone else. My late father once told me, he always says this. You think that he's cursing at the person in front of him, like the idiot driver, silly driver in front, silly driver to the left. But when I asked him, he said this to me. When you're in the driver's seat, everyone is an idiot. When he in his driver's seat, you are the idiot.
Yes.
So
yes.
everyone is on the same thing. Yes,
Yes.
you may curse at them, but always remember that they are also looking at you.
Correct,
Right?
correct.
So you're on the same boat.
Right.
So,
Yeah, we call that, I think, connective bias. You know, you just what you mentioned just now, that you kind of like realize that whether you analyze, you know, whether that if that driver did that, if you know the other person does that, would it actually change the gender? The answer is obviously no. So what I realized is what you did just now was analyzing data.
Right.
So I think that is something that Ruben will be very, very good at, sharing people how they use data to do, you know, get some analysis and how it relates to stress.
stress is an emotional response. It's an emotional decision, right? That you actually put yourself into. And as you mentioned earlier, you actually have control at these certain elements in which you decide whether or not you want to be angry or whether or not you want to be bothered by it. Right? And this is where I'm saying that from data and the information that's coming in, you're going to be late, you're going to be doing everything else. And everything is about self-centered, me.
Yes.
Right? Now, it's your decision to frame it to say that us, we're all in this jam, no one's actually driving faster than you. Even if someone cut in front of you, he's still in front of you.
Right.
Right? So, you know, you're a lot faster, you're not going to get far from that action. So, you can actually change your perception in terms of how you analyze your situation.
Correct.
And then decide, and it is a decision. You decide to be angry, you decide to be worried, you decide to be happy, you decide to think of nice thoughts to distract yourself.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of everything is about.
It's a learned response and a responsible response.
Yeah.
Whereas I find those who complain about being stressed all the time, they have never even stopped themselves and said, okay, what have I been thinking? What have I been saying to myself that has made the situation unbearable?
Yes.
And many times it's really a lot of negative projections.
Yes.
I'm going to be late. My boss is going to scold me. The stupid driver in front is not moving, so I'll be late. Really? Are you so sure? You know?
And life, to a certain degree, about being in a jam or not, is in your hands.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? Waking up half an hour earlier,
Exactly.
It's what's
waking
going to
up
happen.
an hour earlier, and you're going to have the road all to yourself.
Yes, definitely.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
So
yes.
you can take that particular part of your stress
Change it.
out of your life and have an early day,
Yeah.
and then come back early or whatever. You know, it's definitely in your control.
Yeah.
I think being in control and also, let's say, cursing the drivers or blaming on everyone else except ourselves is actually a habit.
Yes.
Yes, it's a habit that actually we created, whether consciously or unconsciously. It's a pattern. It's a way we actually keep telling ourselves the same stories again and again and again and again. And when I was actually doing this breaking habit workshop, I talk about this. I talk about how people actually do something repetitively, but unlike the action habit, for instance, driving a car, even brushing your teeth, you know, we do it every single day, so it forms a habit pretty easily. But to actually have an emotional habit is totally different, because the way our mind works is totally different from a physical action. How we actually get it to repeat is that our mind will actually kind of like spot the similar pattern, maybe incident A. The pattern is like this. So when we actually face a new incident scenario, incident B, our mind will kind of like try to match. You know, try to like scan. Oh, it matches. So it's the same thing. So when it's the same thing, the mind go one more round. So it repeat one more round. So every single incident and scenario in our life throughout the whole day can be many, can be 5 to 10 to even I don't know, could be 50 incidences, small little one throughout the entire day. And our mind becomes so good at doing this scanning and whatnot. It's like the more we actually, like the mind start to do this small little comparison every single time, every single thing happen, the mind becomes so good, it will do it unconsciously. We'll do it without us noticing it. It's just the same thing when we actually drive a car. you don't ask yourself how do you put your hands on the wheel, steering wheel, and how you start the car, put your legs. No, you just go there, start the car, and then just go. The same thing how our mind works as well. Because every time we have this pattern comparison that our mind doing at the back of the mind, we keep doing that. So it creates that repetition again and again, again and again, again and again. It becomes a habit. So when it becomes a habit, stress as well is like a habit. Because it repeated itself without actually doing action. It's just all in our mind. So the language of the mind will help us to really look into it. How do we actually overcome this? This is one thing that I felt is so important and so critical that people need to be aware of this. Because if not, they're not aware of this, they will continue to live lives according to their sets of truth, which could be lies, and they're like not knowing it until the day they get buried and they still didn't know about it. I felt that it's such a pity in that sense.
Yeah. Also, the other thing that I would like to highlight is stress is always painted in a negative way.
Yeah, exactly.
But the reality is stress is neither good nor bad.
So this, which brings to our this masterclass, which is stress energy. Yes.
So it's actually how we respond to it.
Yes.
And I find one reason why people don't respond to stress properly is they have no idea what's the purpose of stress.
Exactly.
So when they have stress, they think, let's remove it.
Yes.
But actually, stress should not be removed because stress is an inbuilt
indicator.
Correct. Yes.
It's actually telling you, you need to pay attention to this.
Yes.
You need to do this.
Exactly.
But many people come and say, how do I remove stress?
Yes.
Wow.
No.
Why do you want to remove an indicator that tells you your petrol is empty?
Yeah.
I don't like that red light lah. So how to take it
It's
away? This did not. And then suddenly your car's stuck and that's why.
Yes.
So the better question is, when I see that red light, what should I do?
What's wrong?
Exactly.
What is the red light telling me? Is it telling me my tire is flat, or is it telling me my battery is flat?
Yes.
And I hope we will help people understand this, if nothing else, at the beginning of the Master Talk.
Yes, I like that. You know why? Because I love this question that I ask a lot of people. How do you actually deal with something when you don't truly understand it? It's a fact that a lot of people live with assumption. They assume that they know. They assume that this is like that. Just because we read it somewhere on the internet, or somebody told us in the past, or maybe we actually read it from a book written by certain experts, we assume that this is the answer.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's like stress, and a lot of people felt that they are stressful, but they don't understand what is stress. So the question is pretty simple: how do you deal with stress when you don't actually understand what stress really is?
And when they don't understand what stress is, what I find more troubling is there's this idea that because stress doesn't feel nice, let's get rid of it.
Yes.
Whereas instead of saying, hey, I'm feeling stressed, this is great because now I'm given an opportunity to respond properly. Of course, they won't ask it because many don't know how to respond in the first place.
We would not exist if we do not have stress.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Agree
Essentially,
with you.
if a tiger comes after you, if you
Yes.
don't feel stressed, you just stand there.
Just relax.
Right.
Calm.
Yes.
Tiger.
And the fact that we are alive today because we are the descendant of those who actually survived in the past and ran away from the saber-toothed tiger or whatever that is because they felt stress. So stress is something. It is something. It's an energy.
Yeah. And I find why people think stress is bad is you don't respond to stress properly. So there's one stress not responded to. Then another stress happens and you're not responding to it. Then another one. After all, you accumulate, stress which you should never, as a human, experience. The amount of stress.
Which led to depression.
That is what people say is bad stress. It's actually an accumulated amount of stress which you have failed to respond properly.
Yeah.
Using that analogy of the saber-toothed tiger and how we survive due to stress, we are actually a result of stress being beneficial for survival.
Yep.
The difference now is that we have a lot more saber-toothed
Saber-tooths,
tigers
yeah.
running around in our lives.
Yes.
Where everywhere we turn, there's a potential saber-toothed
Tiger,
tiger.
right.
Got bills to pay. And,
Yes,
and,
correct.
all these kind of things.
Correct.
And and our emotional natural response was to run like hell,
Right.
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
To survive.
Correct. Correct.
Whereas
Yes.
you need to actually analyze how this is not a saber-toothed tiger.
Right.
This is essentially someone talking while you're watching YouTube.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
that big
And you see, you mentioned the word run from saber-tooth, but actually stress is a necessary mechanism that actually gives you two options:
Yep.
right.
run or fight.
Yes.
Yes.
And sometimes you have to fight.
Yeah.
But when we don't recognize that stress is actually preparing us to fight and win, and we keep running all the
Yes,
time
yes,
as
yes,
well.
yes.
Correct. Correct.
So is the ability to take stock and decide, this one run away or this one fight. And whatever choice you make, stress has prepared your body to meet the challenge.
Yes. Yes.
Stress will give you the strength to run as fast as possible, or give you the strength to knock that saber-tooth.
Yeah. That's
Mouth
the
of
that's
the
the part
tiger
where they
mouth.
say this person performed well in the
Yeah,
project.
Yes,
yeah,
correct,
perform
correct,
because
correct.
he choose to fight.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this person didn't perform because he ran out of chicken.
Yeah.
He sent resignation letter very fast.
Exactly.
Yes.
But on the other hand, I'm also saying that sometimes we as a human being, like if we unconsciously switch to the fight mode,
All the time. I mean,
no,
Or more
not
than that.
most of the time.
There are
but-
some
some
alpha
actually.
male
Yeah.
types.
Correct. Yeah, and
stress only.
Yes.
the problem is sometimes is that if they fight stress,
Right.
I think it's like fighting air.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't think so. You're not
Yes.
supposed to fight stress.
Yes, exactly.
Stress is giving you the strength to fight.
Something else.
Whatever you're saying is dangerous.
Right,
or
exactly.
perceived
Exactly,
as
exactly.
bad for
It's
you.
an
Exactly.
emotional
Yeah.
response. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're happy, you cannot fight happiness.
Yeah.
Yes.
You laugh.
You laugh.
Exactly,
That's the
exactly,
outcome.
exactly.
Yeah.
Which I find a lot of people not really living their life to the fullest potential. I think it's just because they felt stressed.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a feeling.
The misconception of stress.
Exactly, exactly.
Because I just look at myself. The only thing I know about stress, before purposely studying it or understanding it, is from people around me.
Yeah.
And they're basically very flustered, angry, or upset people, and the only script they have is, "Oh, I'm so stressed." So that's the only education I got. So if you're feeling like that, it's called stress, and it's bad.
Yeah.
That's as far as my education on stress for most of my growing up years.
There's difference in terms of using stress as an excuse,
Mm.
right?
Right.
Than someone who's actually seriously suffering
Experiencing
from
and suffering.
chemical imbalance that
Yes,
actually
yes.
causes stress to be
Mm.
a real problem.
Right. You're right.
So, I mean, in this case, I think I'm qualified to only talk about people who are essentially using it as an excuse and how we can help them.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
that's also an important point to take. I mean, the majority of us are essentially using stress. As you mentioned, I'm so stressed today. What's making you stressed? I ordered the coffee 45 minutes ago. It's like, based in context, I mean, you can always think about first world problems versus
Yeah.
third world problems.
Yeah.
But you also have, how can someone who inherited so much have so little?
Yes.
And someone who have inherited so little have such full lives.
Yes.
Right? These are the two comparisons
Exactly.
in which and you can have very little, live in the hills and no running water, and still be happy and then live a stress-free life.
Yes.
You can have a 2 million ringgit condominium with a very fast car in your car park and still live a very stressed out life.
Yes.
So,
Right.
this is
And if you go back to the saber-tooth tiger, I think sometimes we are stressed because we purposely or wrongly place ourselves. If you choose a route that goes through the jungle that's populated by saber-tooth tigers, and you actually walk through that jungle every day by choice, of course your level will be
Yes,
so then you
definitely.
got two choices,
Yes,
right?
right.
Kill all those tigers or create a new route.
Yes.
And I find today, yes, though you said, at every corner we seem to have stress, but I wonder whether all those corners we purposely entered in.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
And if we
yes.
did,
right.
we can
right.
actually change
Right.
what kind of
Right.
environments we place ourselves more often in, what kind of
Agree.
environments we don't,
Yes.
what we stop.
Yes.
It still comes back to the point is, if you understand stress, you actually have enough power to respond to it that
Right.
it doesn't destroy you.
Right. The word purposely, yes, that's the word
Right.
actually very, very good, because I come to an understanding that a lot of people did this. They purposely walk through
Yes.
the path with a lot of saber-tooth tigers, you know, and that has been an excuse.
Right.
But it might not be on purpose. But here's the dilemma, and I deal with students a lot, and when I talk to them, I always ask them, "What's your passion?" Many of them say, "I don't know."
Yes.
Why are you here? I
No,
don't know.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think in order for them to come out with more positive energy, they need to understand purpose,
Yes.
right? And this is where I think Winston's coaching can help in terms of discovering their purpose. If you do not know your purpose, you're going to end up in a job you hate,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Students with a purpose allow themselves to be more self-driven. Without that purpose, they graduate, they're going to compete with other people coming up from school, and they do not have a differentiator, right? So a lot of them end up not being able to find a job, not being able to find the right job, and then they end up having this stressful life.
Right.
Right. Whereas if you know your purpose, right, and you look and seek for your that purpose in life, and you find a job, even if it's a simple job, but it satisfies that purpose.
Do you think finding a job that satisfies your purpose or lends to your passion will still have saber-tooths?
Yes, yes.
For stress.
Yes,
Definitely.
Yes. But what's the difference between that kind of stress and a work that is stressful and you don't like?
Okay, to me, all right, I'm speaking from a personal perspective now, in a sense that you are looking at, you end up in a job you love, in the things you love doing. You wake up early in the morning, as what we call it, we dream in code. We try to solve problems in our dreams and all these kind of things. When a problem in the office comes to bear, that saber tooth, it's like trying to tame a wild horse.
Right.
You try to jump on it and tame that wild horse. You don't run.
You don't run.
You fight.
Yeah, you
Yes.
fight.
Yes.
Right?
I like your example because I think it lends to what I was trying to say. You can actually choose to walk through a jungle.
Yep.
And though there are saber-tooths there, it's a jungle that you enjoy. There are things you can do there. And so those saber-tooths are challenges.
Yep.
Whereas if you go through a forest which you feel you're forced to walk through, have to walk through, then even the smallest saber-tooth
Threats.
is a threat. And it's seen like, this is going to make life more difficult.
Yes.
I was talking about this when somebody actually deliberately or purposely choose a path that actually, like, there's a tooth there. I think two things that I'm looking at here is one, there are the kind of people. One who actually choose to go that because they felt that it's a challenge for them, then maybe they can upgrade the skill. But the other one actually did purposely select the path, knowing that this is not the path they want. It's not because they find challenges, because they are afraid of changes, because they are not comfortable to do the things that they are not really familiar with. It's like it's better to choose something that they kind of like look scary and they know about it rather than try something unknown. So the fear of unknown based on known, it has become like they purposely choose this path and it become an excuse. And once it becomes an excuse, it actually become a habit. A habit of telling himself that I'm so stressed, and
I cannot do anything about it. I'm stuck.
Yes, and the worst part is I also found that there are certain people love to be labeled. They may not notice it, but it's kind of like telling people that I'm stressful is a joy. In the sense that
because I think one is they get attention.
Exactly.
They want to get attention. You get sympathy. Something you get not
It's
stuff.
an excuse.
It's a
Great excuse, and people buy into that excuse.
Yes, that's how we actually pop ourselves into that situation. So either it's purposely or not purposely, consciously or subconsciously. But at the end of the day, that is how our mind works. If we can find a way to actually, I always use this term, reverse engineer. You reverse the whole thing back. Find out how actually you got there.
Yes.
And every single result, whether it's good or bad, there are tracks.
Yeah.
You can look back, how actually we got there. So by doing that, I think people will start to really look at stress from a different perspective. How you can actually deal with it instead of really fight it, run away. At the end of the day, that will create a new level of stress.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you work in a career and you start to develop all these comforts in life,
yes,
the laurels, if you may, you start to think, I'm so scared of losing it all.
Yes.
But in the end, you're tying yourself. When the reason you ask or you tell yourself you're afraid to lose it all is because something is telling you maybe you should try something new.
Yes.
Maybe you can find happiness, a little bit more happiness in this path.
Yes.
And you say, I'm afraid to try it because I'm afraid to lose it all.
Yeah. It kind of makes sense to relationships and marriages as well. Because I find certain people who have this kind of habit, they are so afraid of losing the loved ones, and it becomes a stress.
Or staying in a broken marriage.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's
yes.
What happened is that become another threat. It kind of really spoil the whole marriage or even the relationship because they're so afraid. It's like they start to be more obsessed. They're afraid of that they're going to lose the other half and that sort of thing, and it makes the other half felt suffocated. Which is that I think that is also another area that we need to highlight because that will actually help a lot of people to understand that why probably their marriage or relationship is not really working.
A large factor of life stress comes from home.
Yes, agree.
Right?
Definitely agree.
To some people, that's what drives them to go out to work early.
Okay.
Right. So I mean, in a lot of sense, this is life. You have to think about, and this is where when you analyze it from a data analyst perspective, you cannot just have a tunnel vision of saying, "Oh, I'm stressed because my bank account is low."
Yes.
Right. That's not just that one stress.
Right.
You're stressed because your bank account is low and you cannot provide.
Correct.
Right. Your provisioning to your family is what is the major cause of it. And then from that cause, and then what is that driving you to? Right. So that is essentially trying to solve problems. Then you talk to your other half and see if you can actually come into a different type of a working relationship and try to solve it together, rather than just bear the burden by yourself.
So it underlines the same thing we've been saying. See, the stress is just a signal. Hey, you need to look into this, and you need to work it out. And actually, stress is a wonderful companion that comes along and says, I think this area needs to be looked into.
Yes.
Rather than saying, shh, go away. I don't want you. It's like, okay, the stress is here. This stress is indicating I need to talk. So maybe in your example, I need to talk to my wife.
Yes.
Or we need to look into this area. Because in the last you're saying, never mind lah, maybe it'll work out lah.
Exactly.
The more you're feeling stressed, the red light is brighter, is telling you, no, it will not work out. It's time for you to stop and do something.
Yes, exactly. It's just
So
like
respond to it.
it's an indicator telling you
Yeah.
that, hey, you know, your car is running out of petrol now, like, you know, like I think like,
Sure, get down a few more. I can take 200 kilometers still. Okay.
yeah, that's exactly what
And let's go back to what you're saying. The lies we tell us, and we have a
Exactly.
script, and then
Yes.
we will sometimes prove. I got a friend. His car also zero
Yeah.
still can travel 100 kilometers. Sure, my car also can.
Yeah, exactly, yes.
I'm very sure this journey is down.
Oh my goodness, this is so true.
Yeah.
This is so true because it's like the way we trick ourselves, the way we kind of like really want to listen to those lies because it makes us feel good.
Yeah.
I think it makes us feel someone special, I suppose.
That's why in our brochure, I like the theme at the top. You know, we're focusing on is stress a powerful, helpful energy in your life, or is it a bad monster? And I think it's a bad monster because we have made it into a bad monster.
Right.
But it actually can be a wonderful source of strength and power and energy for us. And hopefully those who come to our session would
Yeah.
be able to take that monster and change it into a source of energy that will change their lives.
Yes, and this is what we hope to achieve so that people can really understand what stress is all about, master and harness the energy from stress. Because I believe what we're doing right now going to be, it's going to create an impact, in days to come, years to come.
But it's also how we deal with it. It's also a continuous process.
It is.
I mean,
It is.
individually, we are all going through the same thing.
Yes. Yes.
The only reason why we're here talking to them is also because we're being further downstream
Correct.
Yes.
in our
I
lives.
think each of us not only went further downstream, but in certain parts, certain points in our life,
Yep.
we have been given some serious challenges,
Yes.
and we made it.
Right.
And
You're
so
right.
it's like, I've been there, let me help you, because it's no fun doing it alone without
Yes.
any knowledge. So we don't want others to suffer
Yes.
or go through what we did.
Yep,
We like
yep,
to give them
yep,
some
yep.
handles so that
Yep.
if and when it happens, their ordeal will be shorter,
Yes.
Definitely.
and their rate of success will be better.
Yep. That's good. Wow, such a short one can really sum up a lot of stuff.
Yeah, because I guess, like you said, we really want to talk about what we know
Yeah.
Yes.
and what
yes,
we have
yes,
experienced and
yeah.
what we
Yes,
believe.
yes.